Yeah.
So Scott Finley of Finley's Barbershop.
Yeah. Talk to me. What's going on?
So, Baptist Minister Father, Hot Springs, Arkansas. Now you're in
Correct.
Austin, Texas.
Correct.
That's a pretty interesting story.
Yeah, it was, everybody here in the room, I grew up, growing up in a very small town in Arkansas. Had a big dream. Had a big dream, and I went to college and I played soccer, which was awesome. But when I got done with college, I decided to do one thing. It was like I wanted to go to beauty school, which everyone that knew me said, Scott Finley, really, you're going to beauty school? Like, you're like the most amazing athlete that we've ever met. Like, you're going to beauty school? And I go, yeah. Not only that, I'm going to take, at that point when I said take the world over, I'm going to go do this. And so in 1997, I moved to Austin, Texas with $900 in my pocket. That's what I had. That's it. First month that I was here was great. The next 3 months, I lived literally with no electricity, and I was eating corn out of a can to survive.
Well, you were an entrepreneur, right?
I thought I was.
So what I'm hearing is being an entrepreneur, perhaps not as easy as you thought.
No, it wasn't easy. I mean, for me, it was something super hard, but I knew what I wanted to do. Like, I knew what I wanted to do.
So let's track back, because you met Darren at a
Yes.
restaurant.
Correct.
So you guys had grand ideas, and we were on KLBJ the other day.
Yep.
And we haven't quite gotten the answer whether we were drunk or not when we came up with the napkin idea. So were we drunk or not when we got out the napkin and started scribbling numbers on to work out whether or not this barbershop idea was actually going to be profitable?
Yeah, it's funny because we actually did. We drew out the entire thing on a napkin. And, at the end of the night, we were like, all right, let's do this. And I would say this for, most entrepreneurs, but we literally financed everything that we had on credit cards.
Which is really safe to do, of course.
It was super scary. Both of our wives, which thank God today we're both still married. Our wives still, love us and believe in us. But 8 years ago when we did this, it was something that was extremely scary. And like I said, 8 months, 9 months into the whole deal, we didn't know if it was going to work.
Well, let's talk about what you did do, because, the hairdressing industry had changed.
Sure.
And guys started to like long hair. And all of a sudden, the barbershop, as we knew it, had changed. And you discovered, which my favorite thing in the world is discovering niche markets. And you looked at the market and you thought you could do something. Do you want to explain the process of how you came up with the idea
Sure.
of the barber store franchise?
Sure. So, guys, I don't know how many guys we have out here today, but most guys out here look at getting a haircut like a chore. Like it's like mowing the grass. Like, oh, I got to go get my haircut today. Women, on the other hand, they will literally plan the birth of their children around their hair appointment because it is something that is so important to them because they want those 2 hours or whatever that time is to be able to be able to go and just relax and be, maybe have a glass of wine or do this. And when I would talk to guys, before 2008, before we started this, I would talk to guys. I'm like, hey, where do you go to get your hair cut? And they're like, I go to this place, or I'm like, well, why do you go there? I'm like, does it have anything to do with cost? Anything to do with money? They're like, no. I'm like, okay, so let me ask you another question. Do you expect to get a good haircut? And they 100% said no.
So we've got a market that doesn't care about price, but expectation is that we expect to get bad service.
Right.
Well, that's a good business to be in, right?
It's unbelievable, actually. I mean, I'm like, so you know, going in, you're not gonna like the service, yet you're gonna pay for it.
So I'm sure there's lots of people out there that have these ideas, and they're like, I'm sure people will want this, and they're guessing, right? You actually went out and spoke to real people and said, what are your expectations? Are they being met? And they were being met because their expectations were that they were happy to get bad haircuts at that stage.
It's funny you say that they were happy to get bad haircuts. That's funny. I mean, my thing is like, I mean, all of us right here, unless you're a vegetarian, which just hold on and let me, kind of talk about this. But, if you're like super hungry and you go in and, it's you have an expectation of like, let's say, I want to go to McDonald's and I'm going to get a cheeseburger, and I know it's not going to be very good, but at the same time, at the end of the day, I'm not going to be hungry because I've got this. Yet you could have gone to, I don't know, the best steakhouse here in Austin and paid $50 for a steak. At the end of the day, they're both selling beef. We hope. We hope McDonald's is selling beef. Whatever that may be. You can pay $3 or $4 for a slab of beef, or you can go pay $50. Finley's, what we do is we're selling the $50 beef.
So let's go back to, I guess, the beginning, because you were working a job when you got to Austin. You were working a job, and you then went, well, I'm going to go open this Finley's barbershop idea. And you and Darren were on your way. You were going to go do that. The wives were supporting you. A lot better than a lot of people when they're starting a business, just to have wife support. And you had some credit cards. The banks gave you some money to go and do it. Because we were talking 2008 when you did this, right?
Absolutely.
There was no money to be had then.
None.
So back in 2008, obviously, we're going through the GFC. You go to a bank for money and say, hey, I want to start a business. They're like, well, no, every business is going broke. Good luck with that. Of course, they'll let you use the credit cards because they've already approved those. But you worked your 9-to-5 job, and then what did you do?
I mean, we were there every single night, till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Pizza boxes, water bottles. I mean, that's what we had to do.
So you wanted to change your life, and you decided that was the way to do it.
Absolutely. And it wasn't just changing our life. Darren and I, to take a step back, guys, Darren and I, we always wanted to have some type of business together. We just didn't know what it was going to be. Yeah. He was a tech guy. I'm a hair guy. We thought about doing a business about import arts and doing all these things. And then I just kind of came up. I was like, hey, I want to open up a really high-end men's barbershop. And Darren immediately said, I'm in. Right here.
He's a tech guy.
He's a tech guy.
He's opening a barber store.
Yeah, he's a tech guy.
He had a lot of trust in you then, I take it.
Well, I'd been cutting his hair for, 20 years, So, yeah, he knew me, and I said, let's do it. And, we did it, and literally, Matthew, 1 year into the first store that we opened, we looked at each other and said, I don't know if this is going to happen. I don't know if it's going to work. We might fail. We might fail. And I said, no. We're going to go. We're going to just keep doing it, keep doing everything we're doing. And, now we're 8 shops in, about to open 3 more in Austin, 2 in Denver. And we're not a franchise, if any of you guys are interested in that, but we're not We're not a franchise. We own every single part of our business, and I am so proud to say we are a 100% debt-free company.
How many of those are out there these days? Can we give them a clap? When you first started, though, you did your own painting. You did your own tiling.
Yes.
It wasn't like you just walked in and you had a load of investors.
Oh, no, not at all. No, it was Darren and I laying the tile, laying the flooring, painting the walls, and hanging the photos, and doing everything that we do. And I've said this many times, many speaking, engagements that I've been a part of. Darren and I, my business partner, not only are we best friends, we hold each other so accountable for what we do. He's got a side, I've got a side as far as what we do. Obviously, my side is more on the hair side. His side is more marketing, advertising, doing that. But, and people ask us all the time. Like you guys in a room, how many stores do you want to grow to? Right now we've got 8. We're about to have 11. We could have 20. I don't know. I really, honestly, I don't know when that is. I think at some point it's kind of, I don't know how many of you out there have children, but sometimes it's like having kids. You're like, all right, I'm done. I don't want any more. And I think that's a point that we'll get to. But right now, it's not that way. And, people ask you if we're a franchise. I said no, because I don't want to risk the integrity of what we're doing.
I think the thing that I really like about what we discussed before the interview was how you define success. And I think that when we had Brett Hurd in earlier today, I think one of the things that seems very consistent to me with a lot of, not entrepreneurs, but successful entrepreneurs, is that when I ask them to define it, I don't hear the dollar symbol. I don't hear the money, cha-ching, this is how I define success. And you don't either. So I'd love for you to elucidate a little bit on how you define success.
All right, so success to me, again, growing up as a, basically a minister's kid in small town Arkansas, there was, and excuse me if I get emotional on this point, but there was a janitor that worked in my high school. He had 4 kids. And he put every one of those kids through college, sweeping floors. That's success to me.
And I think that's really important. Success is how you define it, and it's living your dream. Can we give him a clap?
And I knew this man for, pretty much from the time I was a freshman till the time I graduated high school. And I knew his kids, and I knew what he did, and but he worked his butt off every single day, to do that, to push those kids to go to college, because he didn't get to go to college. But he put 4 kids through college, sweeping floors. I'm like, unbelievable. It's unbelievable to me to be able to do that.
I think, Scott, you have a real passion for small business especially,
Sure.
but I think a lot of people in Austin, they have that go big or go home. It's got to be one of those big things. And you have a snow analogy of all things.
Oh, yeah.
To share with people that I think is really instrumental, because your focus isn't go big or go home. What is it?
No, it's definitely not go big. My thing is, and one of my, what Matthew's talking about is, one of my biggest analogies is like, avalanches are made from snowflakes. So I don't care what your business is. I don't care if you're selling haircuts or if you're selling, it doesn't matter what you're selling. What everyone in this room needs to be in business doing is collecting snowflakes. Because once you do one by one, once the avalanche hits, you can't stop it. And that's what we've done. That's what Finley's has done. When I started that little bitty tiny business on credit cards, and we've grown to what we are now in 8 years, unbelievable. And it started out literally from me going, hey, one by one, we need you, we need you, we need you to just come in and get their haircut. And when you go and say, hey, buddy, I love this place. Boom, boom. Next thing, we're collecting. You know, I mean, avalanches are like, it's kind of like a flood. I mean, you can totally flip it the other way and say, hey, floods are made from raindrops. They are.
So, Scott, you run a barber store. I'm just going to put this in real terms for people.
Sure.
No one makes money out of owning a hairdressing salon, right? I've walked past barber stores in my hometown in Australia, and it's always that place that has no money. And it's always the place you go in and they haven't replaced anything for so long because they don't make money. People make themselves excuses all the time about why their industry is different or why you can't make money. You've got to be in tech in Austin to make money, right? Everyone knows that.
Sure.
You're a barber shop. What would you say to them?
Well, I mean, you know, for us, I mean, literally, we've created a business model that everyone who works for us makes money. You know, and I say three things: show up on time, do your job, go home. That's it. Like when I hire somebody, it's like those are my three things: show up on time, do your job, go home. That's it. Okay. If you look at this as a job, like I said earlier, job stands for just over broke. You chose to go and, you know, it's like, you know, people who are in the tech industry, if they have, you know, a degree, great. Same thing in the beauty industry. You have to go to school to be able to cut hair. You know, so people that are barbers or stylists, like, hey, you chose to go do this. You know, and there's nothing more gratifying for me or Darren, literally, that when one of our employees comes to us and says, I am able to buy my first home, I am able to buy a nice car, I am able to now not live paycheck to paycheck. There is nothing more gratifying to me. You talk about taking a tear to your eye, is that. And I'm like, you know, work your butt off and do this, and yes, you will do that. I mean,
Scott, did you have to stop cutting your hair at some stage? I mean, I know you were cutting hair at the start, but a lot of people, they get stuck on the tools, if you like, or they get stuck in their functional skill and they can't find their way out because they're the person. And I know that initially when you started, finding the right staff to deliver your brand was vital. What advice would you share there?
You know, it was hard for me to stop cutting hair. That was a hard thing because that's what I love to do the most. You know, but at the same time was for me to be able to share what I did and sit there, you know, with those people and, you know, people that work for us. And, you know, I'm sitting there going, hey, showing them how to cut hair. I mean, I think that was even more gratifying than anything else, like for them to go, hey, how can I go to the next level? And here's another thing, entrepreneurs out there right now, all of you guys, I'm going to tell you right now, if you expect anybody to be like you, they will never work for you. Because if they thought like you, guess what they're doing? They're doing their own thing. Okay, same with my people. Same with the people that work for me. I'm like, hey, if you're not on my team, then go build your own team. That's fine. You can go do that. But again, like, because I am such a type A personality guy that I just drill people. But if they were like me, if they were the exact person that I am, they would never work for me. They would go, you know what? I'm going to do my own thing.
So,
and expect that. as entrepreneurs, because my business, I have two components, employees and clients. Without those two, I have no business.
So Scott, let's talk about the employees for a second.
Sure.
Sorry, let's talk about the clients for a second. Clients will occasionally complain. And as a business, we need to handle that. And I think you said something really interesting to me when we met, which was that a lot of times they're not complaining about what they're actually complaining about. And as a small business, I think we take complaints very personally. And sometimes it's not about us, or the part that is about us is so insignificant. So we can't take it personally. And I'd love you to just explore that with people just for a second.
The client thing, so no matter what you're selling, I'm in the business, so to speak, of selling haircuts. That's what I do. But there's other people that are in the, business of selling whatever it may be, anything. But when I come back to this, I'm going to tell you right now, everything has to be about an experience. Every single thing that you do. You think about it. Just think about it. I don't know how you guys are, but I know how I am. This is funny. I'm going to bring this up. I just thought about this, but there's actually a particular gas station, because I live out in Lakeway, that I like to go to because the guy behind the counter, I could buy gas
Anyway.
anywhere. But because this guy, number one, he knows my name. And he's like, hey, right when he sees me, it blows my mind. I will go out of my way to go and see this guy. And he's like a small business owner. And he is there 7 days a week, every single day. And and my boys go in there, and he knows my boys' names, and he's like, I already know what you got. He already knows what they're gonna buy. He's like, I already got you. He is so personable, and I think that is the secret to business, is to, again, going back into grabbing snowflakes. That's a snowflake. He's got my business forever. And my kids. Forever. My kids are going to grow up going, hey, and I don't say this, but literally his name is Habib. His name is Habib, and he owns this Texaco station, and my kids go in and they fist bump him, and he's like, all right, you're getting ding dong. He knows what they're getting, and it's amazing to me. And that, that little, $8 that I spend,
that's the $8 off every customer, or $10 or $50 off every customer.
And he does it, but, and that's the thing about Finley's. My barbershop is that, and I would say this, with whatever business that you own, or that you're wanting to own, or you're wanting to start up, is that you do this. You go above and beyond the client's expectation every single day. Not just once, not just twice, every single day. And that's what's made me successful. And not only that, it's made my people successful.
So Scott, I have one final question for you. And I think a lot of people will say, especially these day and age, well, I need to get funding, or I need to get the bank to lend me some money. Everything you did was on you. What difference did that make?
Great question there. So if you heard what Matthew said, so basically we had no funding. We had to literally do this on our own. If you do have a bank that gives you a loan, which is great if that happens, but you know what? You're going to be, obviously, you have to pay back that loan. But if you don't have that, and you know that it's all on you, it's going to push you harder and harder and harder to do it, which is what we did. We have never had to have a bank loan. You know, we put it on credit cards at first with our first store in Lakeway. Second store in Westlake, self-funded, boom. And every store from here on out is what we do. You know, but, you know, not saying going to the bank is a bad thing, because, you know, that could work. But I can tell you right now, when we knew that it was all on us, it held us accountable. Darren and I, my business partner and I, would look at each other every single day and go, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do. And we got it done every single day of our life. Every single day. You know, and like I said, you know, we had to sacrifice, and that's my biggest thing for every entrepreneur who is out here, who's listening. Get willing to sacrifice, because you're going to have to, and your wife's going to have to sacrifice, your kid, like, you're going to have to sacrifice. Okay, you can't just throw a bunch of money in and go, oh yeah, it's going to work. Like, hey, I want to go buy a franchise. It's not going to work like that. You know,
Is it worth it?
Absolutely, 100%. I know we don't get into numbers and doing all this as far as, but I'm going to tell you right now, from where I've gone from 2008 to 2016, like right now, guys, it has been worth the sacrifice for me, and it's been worth the sacrifice for my partner, and it's been, you know, and kind of tongue in cheek, it's been worth the sacrifice for our wives. You know, we're both still married, so it's been hard. I mean, it has been extremely hard.
But worth it.
Absolutely.
Everyone, Scott Finley. Thank you, mate.
Good?
Yeah, we're good.